Hey everybody, Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel here, and I've got my first reaction to the new installment of the Ghostbusters franchise, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This is the fourth installment of the main franchise that began with the original Ghostbusters in 1984. Of course, there was also Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which was a reboot that I actually kind of liked. So I've been positive on all four of the Ghostbusters films up until this point, this being the fifth one total. This is directed by Gil Kenan, who did, I think, the Poltergeist remake as well as Monster House. So he's got a very specific style for doing ghosts because he's done a lot of it. So going to see this film, though, initially on the trailers, I was very excited because it seemed unique. It seemed something different. Frozen Empire is a ghost that can kill people through fear, and basically, kind of use this cold area, and they even start with a quote that I was just surprised by. So overall, I liked the movie. Big wins for me is I feel like, again, this is a different movie, which I really appreciate because as much as I thought, Ghostbusters Afterlife, very well made, strong outing, part of me was kind of disappointed that we had the member berries of basically let's go back to Gozer. Let's go back to, the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper. And they kind of just went back and redid the first film on kind of like a Stranger Things vibe. Which is okay, you did that. That's neat and everything. What I appreciated more, though, was Ghostbusters 2, which is my favorite Ghostbusters film, didn't just do that. Ghostbusters 2 had Vigo, the Carpathian, the Scourge of Moldavia. And I really appreciated that film was so drastically different. The slime and it hit those same beats of Ghostbusters films, but it's funny in a different kind of way. I appreciated that about Frozen Empire. It's funny, but it's also a unique monster creature. It feels more in line with the real Ghostbusters, which, love or hate, I don't really have an opinion on it. I've watched the movies way more than I watched the cartoons, so... but I appreciated that it tried something different, did something different. We have a different character. This is a drastically different kind of movie from Afterlife. It's a lot zanier, I feel, whereas Afterlife kind of felt more like a realistic take. That for as much as you can do with a Ghostbusters film, that felt more grounded. This film feels a little bit more oh, we're back in New York now, and look at all the things that are going on here. So we get ideas about what do they do with these cursed artifacts, and what happens when we put too many ghosts inside the machine that accepts them. It asks specific questions, delves into the mythology in a unique and interesting way, which for me as a pretty much lifelong Ghostbusters fan was fantastic. I like that it progressed the main Spangler family further forward, while also progressing the original Ghostbusters story further forward as well. I would have liked a little bit more of the original cast as well, because again, that's more my speed, but I like that every character seems to move forward in the film, which I appreciate, because if you're going to keep making these movies, I would like to see some more evolution from each of the characters. Now, there's been a lot of criticism that this film is too much member berries, that this film is too much nostalgia. I saw elements of nostalgia there, but I didn't feel like they were overtly so in the way that Afterlife was. But, to each his own, I guess. For me, I felt like there was enough uniqueness to it. There was enough character to it that it was interesting to watch. It was engaging, and I did laugh. I did have a couple moments where I actively laughed in the theater, which is not something I do all that often. As far as scares go, the film isn't all that scary. But it was fun. It was unique. I liked Paul Rudd getting a little bit more time to shine. His relationship with Carrie Coon, they have good chemistry. I thought Finn Wolfhard and McKenna Grace specifically gets more to do here. They kind of dive into elements of her being a child still, her being, a young person, which is, unique. She's going through those changes now of becoming an adult. Finn Wolfhard feels like he might have gotten shafted to the side a little bit. He doesn't have much to do in the film. His main argument in the film is, I want to drive the Ghostbusters mobile. That's his forward narrative thrust, I guess. Newcomer Kumail Nanjiani is in the film. He's new to the franchise. He plays the guy who sells this mysterious orb to Ray and kind of kickstarts the movement of the story. he was fine in the movie for what he was being asked to do. I thought his character was a little odd, not so much the character, but some of the things they have him do in the film. Some of the things that kind of, especially as it nears the end, I don't know that they really melded well with it, which is kind of funny because like the unreality of his character and the story that they have for him, I just didn't think was all that good. But it's also a movie about catching ghosts in like metal boxes and stopping them that way, and there's all these different ghost monsters. So I guess maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but I just didn't feel like his part of the story as the film progressed really matched with what was going on, except that it kind of evokes the fire and ice mentality that's being played at with Frozen Empire. Patton Oswalt as their guy in the chair with all the information did good. I think he's only in the movie for one scene, so like he's fine. The original Ghostbusters I thought added quite a bit to it. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not because he's listed on the cast list of the film pretty high. So just know that there's an appearance from William Atherton, who played Peck in the original film. He's back now, but he's the mayor this time, so they've got even more trouble along the lines. There was elements of it that felt a bit superhero-ish instead of about the real life consequences that would be at play in this kind of a world. You know, the film opens with this big set piece where they're chasing this like dragon ghost through Hell's Kitchen. It's a cool set piece. It's interesting. It's fun. But I didn't feel the reality of things that was so grounded in the original film was as strong here. And it feels to me like the mayor would have more say about this happening in his city. It would have been nice to see more of that give and take of that a little bit more. But, overall, I had fun watching the movie. So I'm giving it a mild recommendation. I think it's maybe as far as like production value of the film and engagement level, it's probably on the weaker end of the Ghostbusters series. But I think I liked it more than Afterlife because it was doing something different. I think Afterlife's probably a better made film though. So overall, I like the movie. I'm curious to rewatch it again. I'm curious to get some more time because there's a lot happening in this movie. It feels like a longer movie jammed into a 2-hour runtime because there's so many characters moving around. There's so many different like added sequences that I don't really know if they actually feed to the film or they're just fun to have. And that's why my review is kind of a little bit more on like the mixed but positive because there's a lot of stuff just going on in the film and I don't know that much of the scenes really drive that narrative forward. This is a movie that probably could have been told much shorter. And outside of one just really kind of frustrating character choice that they make for McKenna Grace's character as well, the journey she's going on, I understand what they're trying to do, but it was frustrating something that she did later on in the film because it's just not something that her character would do. And that was kind of like, I know that Phoebe wouldn't do that. Having watched the original film, having even watched most of this film, by the time the choice happens, she wouldn't do that. So that frustrated me a little bit. But again, overall, I like the movie. It's just got some flaws. It's a more messier Ghostbusters film that I still think I had a lot of fun with. So let me know your thoughts down below on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Give me your ranking of the Ghostbusters films. There's 5 of them, so you can always insert your thoughts on those as well. Long live Ghostbusters 2. And let me know your thoughts on the film down below in the comment section. While you're down there, please like and subscribe. There are 2 free things you can do that help to support the channel immensely, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also check out goatfilmreviews.com by many written reviews. You can check out Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. You can find my show Kyle and Nick on Film that I co-host with Nick Plotchuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every single week. All those links are down in the description. You can also find a link down there for the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance, of which I am a member. You can find film critics' opinions other than myself, but of course, you're going there for me. And you can check out everybody else over there as well down in that link too. Thank you so much for joining me, and Bustin' makes me feel good. We'll see you next time.